Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Today's tutorial is how to make a mask. So you can make some of these and donate them to your local hospital. Today's tutorial is going to be something a little bit different. As we all know, we're kind of stuck in a bit of a pandemic right now. And I'm in the USA, and currently our healthcare system is not prepared for the onslaught that's currently kicking in right now and with our healthcare workers. And a lot of the folks don't have PPE, which is protective gear for the frontliners and folks in the ER and critical care units. So there's a call out there for people who can sew to make masks because they don't even have disposable masks. And our emergency grade by the CDC and according to the hospitals, we're there right now. So please follow along with this tutorial. And if you know someone who can sew, please make some of these for your local healthcare workers. They're in high demand right now. For this project, we're going to need fabric cut into 6-inch by 9-inch rectangles. The 9-inch is the bottom and the top, and the 6 inches are the sides. If you have any kind of fussy cuts or facing fabrics you want to use. Also, it's recommended in the guidelines to use 100% cotton for the front and 100% cotton flannel for the part that touches your face because it's softer and more comfortable. For this project, we're also going to need 1/8 inch flat braided elastic. The only stuff I could find was in black. It's pretty thin. This is the part that goes around the ears. I've seen some folks making this with 1/4 inch flat elastic, and the size refers to the width of the elastic. Sometimes 1/8 inch elastic is referred to as 0.13 inches. The flat braided elastic needs to be cut into 7-inch strips. Construction is pretty simple. You want to take your front-facing pieces of fabric and put them together. So about 1 inch down. Some people do 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. Feel free to do that if you want. Go ahead and put your elastic piece in there, and then I pin that in place. And then take this and wrap it around, and you put the other one about 1 inch from the edge of your fabric. So this creates a U-type shape. And this is what's going to wrap around the ears. So if we look at the finished product next to the other one, we can see how this is going to, basically that's the same thing. So pin this in place on both sides, and then what we do is do the same over here. So take this and put your other strap in here, just like we did, and pin that in place, and then sew completely around here and leave it about this much, a 2-inch opening, say around here, and then sew this all the way around. And you can go back over here another time on your straps, because this is where your straps are going to be, just to tighten it in. Now back over here at what I call the sewing cam, I guess, because all I'm doing is just putting the camera on the sewing machine. Here's my little sewing machine. You can see my measuring thing right here. So I'm literally putting the phone on top of the sewing machine so y'all can see what I'm doing. So here's my grid, and I'm going to go 1 inch in right here, and then I take a pin and put the fabric down, make sure everything's lined up all pretty and neat, and then right here is where the elastic is, the flat elastic. So I'm going to puncture it with my pin and make sure that stays in place. Okay, and then come over here, and I want to make sure that this elastic stays flat the whole way over. See how it's lying flat? Okay. So you want this to remain flat, and I go about 1 inch in, which I think has been working when I've been testing them on my head. You may want to go a little You may want to go a little less, do a 1/4 inch, but this is going to get a 1/4 inch seam. So the seam is going to be about right here. So anyway, let's go ahead and straighten this out a little bit for the camera. Okay, so here's my inch in. I'm using my grid, and here is my piece of flat elastic. And I'm not really, I like to pin. I also like to think when I sew that I can just free ball and free wind and use the sewing machine as an extension of my arm and body, but I'm not that good. So I do like to pin. I just have to calm my ass down a little bit, my ADD ass down a little bit to get to pin. So I'm going to pin very minimally. So this is going to keep my fabric together. And then I'm going to come over to the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take this about an inch in, put this down, grab a pin, and then tuck this on top. At the same time, I'm making sure that corner works out right there. And then, oh, I'm probably not doing this for the camera. And then I want to find the flat braided and I want to pin that to the fabric. Okay? And I leave that out because when I run, just pop the pin on. So then lift this up and make sure this stays flat. Remember, we want to make sure this stays flat. Find this, put it right there. Oh, I think I have a twist. Let's see which way this is going. Flat, 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 flat. Okay. Find that over there. Keep this flat. Push that there. And once again, I want to make sure my little corners match up because when you sew with fabric, one side moves faster than the other. So it's okay if your stuff doesn't match up perfectly. It'll work out. Plus, you can ease your the way you feed the fabric through and stuff. So see how that is sticking out, that little piece of black elastic thread. That's not a bad, that is a good thing. Because at least I can see it and I know I'm going to stitch through it. So pin that in place. Try and get it a couple times. Okay. And what I like to do is take a different style of pin. These are little hearts. If you don't have hearts or something totally radically different, you could use different color pins. See how that has a little different color right there? And what I like to do is come over and find where I'm going to leave my 2-inch hole open. So I'll put a heart right on one side, and then about 2 inches or so, I'll put another one over here. And this is just how I do things. You can do things however you want, but this reminds me that I need to leave my hole because what we're going to do is pop everything back out. So the next step is to go ahead and sew your seam all the way around these parts. Okay. I like to run down a second stitch down the short side of the mask to add some stability to the piece and to add some extra stability to the elastic bands. Then get out your iron and go ahead and set all the seams because that's just what you do when you sew. And then at the edges, I like to snip these at an angle so that way when I pull everything out, I have a nice sharper edged corner. So just grab your scissors and cut that off. Cut those bitches off. So then now we take our 2-inch hole, 1.5-inch hole, however big you decide to leave it, and turn everything inside out. You're going to start seeing the straps up here and all the good stuff and the patterns that you chose. And here's where all the magic starts to happening and the piece comes together. I went ahead and grabbed a chopstick to go ahead and get those pesky little corners and to go ahead and make everything a little bit cleaner and neater. You can use any other tool you have besides if you don't have a chopstick or anything fancy if you have a fancy tool. So here's our piece all put together. And I'm going to go ahead and give a tug on the straps, make sure everything's in there pretty sturdy, and then go ahead and iron again because you know that's what we do. And then here's our piece, and now it's time to go ahead and begin construction of the pleats. So I just take the fabric and fold it over like thus. Take it over and fold it over like this, and see how that makes a little pleat. And then take a pin and go ahead and spear it through all the layers. I'm having problems doing this because I'm not very delicate, and this is kind of a delicate procedure. So I'm just doing the best I can. So basically what we're trying to do is create this pleat so that it can be curved on someone's face. So that's what I'm doing like that. And here is the finished mask that we made. So what I did is I took and I went ahead and top stitched down my pleats. And then I came and I top stitched across here and then along here and along here. I'm not the best at sewing, so you can kind of see my stitch work. After putting on that top stitch, come on over here and iron it out, because that's what we do. Set that stitch, and this also irons out the pleats and makes them look nice and fancy. Here are some other designs I did. Here's one of my earlier ones, cherries, and then I did some Star Wars themes, which I thought were pretty cool with the Death Star plans and stuff. So I'm gonna get back to work. Thank you for tuning in and watching this video. I know this is not typical content for what I do. Thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and hopefully this will inspire you or maybe you and your significant other to learn how to make this pattern of mask and make these in your downtime while you're shuttered in, and make these for your local hospital staff. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. Wash your hands and all that good stuff. Bye.